Okay, hey guys, welcome back. So today, I'm knowingly walking into trouble, basically. I was watching this review on this brand that I actually hadn't heard of before. The brand is called Saie, I believe is how you pronounce it. Saie, yeah. I was watching this review from a YouTuber I follow. Her name is Hannah Louise Poston. I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. First of all, she's great, so you should go watch her. Go subscribe. I'll leave her channel down in the link below, the description box below. Everything's fine. She is just such a good reviewer. She's so thorough, and she's really good with like not promoting overspending and stuff like that. She's just like such a... If you feel like my channel is a breath of fresh air, you're gonna go to her channel and watch her and then come back to me and be like, actually, you're kind of fucking musty, bitch. I don't know what to say. So anyways, she was reviewing this brand and the review was like kind of scathing. Like she was like, this is basically the worst. Sometimes I'll see a negative review of something and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't like that either. And then other times I watch it and I'm like, I almost have to like see for myself. Like I need to like check out these warlocks, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm here doing. I was so intrigued watching it that I just was like, I can't like not, I just need to try it. And like, I think from what I've gleaned from watching her videos, I feel like we do have fairly similar tastes. So I probably will also hate these things. Just gonna see how it goes because I can't not try it, okay? So let's do it. Also, just a quick, like, make sure I'm not going to be showing you my address here. Quick shout out to Sephora. Look at this tiny box they sent this in. And there was other products in here too that I happened to order, okay? And when they delivered it, I was like, is that my Sephora order? Are you sure that's coming to this house? Because that looks petite. And it is petite, but they just packed it really well. Anyway, let's jump into this. I got what I could from this brand. They were sold out of a few things that I wanted at Sephora, so I was like, that's fine. I'll forego my Rouge shipping, and I will just go directly to the brand's website. No, they don't ship to Canada, so I'll go fuck myself. I bought what I could from Sephora. They do have like a skin tint type situation that I really wanted to try. It won't be happening for me. But the things that I did pick up, I got their Glowy Super Gel Dewy Illuminating Fluid. I had to get it in the slightly deeper shade. Oh shit, that actually looks like that's gonna be like quite a bit deeper. I had to get it in the deeper shade because they were sold out of the lighter one, but I wanted to try it anyways. Oh no, that really shears out. Okay, so I got it in the shade Sun Glow. That smells like pansies. Okay, so that one is supposed to be an illuminator. It doesn't say anything more. Oh, lightweight and multi-use illuminator to use all over the face or mixed with foundation. Okay, I'm gonna be going and making Alyssa's editing job a nightmare by checking in with the website and seeing like how they suggest applying, what it's supposed to be for, all that kind of stuff. At first glance, looking at the website, it seems like they have so many products that kind of cannibalize one another. Like they have this illuminator thing, they have their tint, which is also like an illuminating thing, and then they have a like highlight, what's it called, Dew Balm. It just seems like for I think they're a newer brand, I don't know, for a brand with like a smaller range, it just feels like they have so many of the same products that it's kind of confusing. But I don't know, maybe I won't feel that way after I use it. So one of the other things that I got is this Dew Balm Bouncy Marshmallow Highlighter. I got it in the shade Rosy Gold. Other shit I got, I ordered the Dew Blush in Rosy. I ordered the lip balm because it just is who I am, okay? I also ordered the what's it called? Really Great Gloss. That's the name of it, Really Great Gloss, which in Hannah's video when she was talking about this, she's like, you're like setting yourself up for disaster. Why would you call it that? And then I got their Brow Butter in the shade Blonde because I just wanted to like try as much as I could from their range, get like a good overview of the brand. And then I also ordered their mascara. Oh, that's my least favorite type of brush. Oh my god, that was so unsatisfying to pull out. That's what she said. Okay, let me start with putting this. What's like gonna be my order here? Yeah, okay, I have an idea. Okay, I'm gonna put on the lip balm first just to see how that goes. Oh, she She's stiff. She's thick. Oh, wow. Okay. That actually feels really nice on the lips. When I was trying to squeeze it out of the tube, I was like, like my hand was getting fatigued. It like melted really nicely onto my lips, and I feel like it looks okay. Wow, it looks almost like, oh no, just liquid lip balm. More than a balm, not quite a gloss. No, it's not at all a gloss. I was gonna say it's almost like more of like a satin finish lip balm, which is so odd. Let me read what they have to say about this quickly. Clean makeup you'll love. Let's see about that. It's also odd that they call it a liquid lip balm because why would you use this photo? Look at this like limp dick fucking photo. Oh my god. Just this limp spaghetti noodle coming out of this fucking, oh my god. I don't know why they would call it a liquid when I'm gonna be nitpicky, I feel like, just based off how this is already going. Meet our super cushiony crowd favorite, a moisturizing balm with a universal pink tint for a put together look anytime. Our light emollient formula nourishes dry lips. Oh my god, it's lightly scented with a natural coconut infusion. It won Glamour's Best Sustainable Beauty Award for Best Lip Balm. And Elle's Future of Beauty Award winner. Wow. Their spin is that the best qualities of a balm and gloss in one. Feels deeply conditioning, softening, and smoothing while also dressing up lips with just a touch. Feels deeply conditioning, softening, and smoothing while also dressing up lips just a touch with a universal slightly pearly pale pink shade. But how is that the best of a gloss and a balm? I understand the balm aspect. I don't understand the gloss aspect at all because it looks very, not glossy. I do like the feel of it on my lips though. I don't know that that shade is going to like really show up on anyone. Like I don't know that it would, let me, yeah, that shade is, it's clear. It's not doing very much dressing up of anyone's lips, but it feels nice. Let me move on with my life here. So I'm going to apply this glowy super gel underneath my foundation and see how it goes. And then I do have the other highlight, but maybe what I'll do is I'll put this highlight on one side and then this one over top of my foundation on the other side if it feels like it's that type of situation. So let me look this up. Okay, welcome to the glowiest, lightest weight luminizer. Wear it alone or under or mixed with foundation or tinted SPF as a primer or over any look for a super glowy finish. Feels like nothing, looks like everything. That's exactly what I go for. Side note, it's recyclable. When empty, recycle the glass after twisting off the plastic pump to remove the inner pouch. Perfect. The universal shades Show Off Your Skin Just Extra comes in bronzy sun glow and champagne tinged star glow. Both are gorgeous and really enhance any skin tone with an unfussy, unstoppable glow. I'm gonna say this, they get really good reviews. It was interesting watching Hannah's video, and like there were some things in her video that are just like personal preference things, but there was other things that it was just like, oh no, this is just a bad product. Like you can just visibly see, like the one sunscreen was like pilling on her hand and she showed it pilling, but they get like fantastic reviews across the board. Tens across the board. So that's interesting. Anyways, I'm sorry if you're hearing my dogs bark in the back. I'm just letting them live their life, okay? I'm gonna put this on with my hands, I think, first. Wait, it said there's a pouch? I wanna like take a look at this. Okay, well, I can't actually get in there, so that's fine. I'm gonna take a little bit of this on my hands. Again, this is not the shade I would have opted for, but it looks like it shears out quite a bit, so I'm gonna layer that up a little bit. It is like a very nice feeling. Like it feels very, almost like a serum, like a really like watery serum. I mean, it's giving me a little bit of like a nice tan, kind of. Okay, that, when it's layered up more, oh God. When it's layered up a little bit more, I'm getting a little bit more of like that like glow quality. I was picturing it being very like shiny, glowy kind of thing. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna layer my foundation over top of that and see how that goes. I guess I can do that on camera while we're here. What was this blush color I mixed up? That looks nice. What was that? Oh, maybe the Freck stuff? Okay, anyways, it's fine. I went to go try and get the new like KVD Good Apple foundation, and they were like, that's cute. No, we're very much out of stock. It was a no-go. Okay, I'm going to locate my foundation brush. It's right here, everything's fine. I'm going to just kind of, maybe I'll press my foundation over top of my skin on this side like I normally do, and then I'll buff it over top of the other side to see if that makes any kind of difference, putting this underneath. So I don't feel like there's any like textural difference, whether I'm like patting over top or like I'm not seeing any like pilling from this particular product or anything like that, regardless of how I'm applying over top of it. So that's good. I'm just gonna grab my concealer. I got the new Marc Jacobs concealer, so we'll see how it is. Not being able to swatch my shades is truly a nightmare. And they also didn't have like samples made of this one because they only got like, my Sephora got sent like very limited shades of like, very limited quantities of all these shades. So I was like, no, don't make a sample, but I have my regrets now because this looks like it's gonna be super light, but we'll see. So I am gonna put my color corrector underneath like normal, but if you guys want a more in-depth review of that particular concealer, let me know and I can show you guys how it looks without. Okay, so I got the Marc Jacobs one in the shade 130. She looks pretty porcelain. Oh, that might actually be okay. Perhaps I just haven't accepted how pale I've become over quarantine. I'm gonna take a little bit of that over my eyes because we don't really have any eye products today that we're going to be trying. Let me jump off, do the other shit that I need to do, and then I'll jump back on and we'll reconvene, okay? Basically, I put on bronzer. I forgot that I had brow stuff and like mascara and shit, so. Okay, so let's do our little brows with this brow butter. Something about the idea of putting butter in my eyebrows, I don't know. Brow butter, oh, I forgot about this. I have a lot of gripes about their product photography, but like, look at how gnarly this looks. Cause like I'm assuming, well, I can visibly see that they have fibers in their formula, which is like all fine and well. That is something else to fucking see visually. Okay, so I had to get this shade blonde, I think, because they were sold out of, oh no, because medium brown looked super red, I'm pretty sure is why. Okay, so they say full natural looking brows made easy. This oil-based liquid pomade has a buttery texture and is made with plant fibers to help build volume and achieve super chic, feathery brows. The perfectly petite mini spoolie brush grooms and tames. Brows look unbelievably shiny and healthy. And it also won some awards, this one. It says, use the clear shade to nourish and style brows without added density. Use blonde, medium brown, and deep shade to... blonde, medium brown, and deep brown shade to sculpt and shape fuller looking brows. Let's do this. That color is way better than I was expecting. A lot of the times I won't opt for blonde shades and things because I do like to do a little bit more of a dramatic brow, but also usually the blonde is like really light and either like oddly green toned or like really, really warm. But I feel like this is actually a good shade for me. Wow, I feel like my skin looks a lot drier underneath than it normally does. That's interesting. Okay. I do actually like that brow gel at first try, and it was $26, which I feel like is pretty like standard pricing for like a brand of this, you know, kind of price range. Like I don't feel like that's like wildly overpriced in terms of like what I normally pay for brow gels. The color is actually a lot nicer and like more neutral than I was kind of anticipating. It looked like it was going to be a lot lighter and kind of more like it looked like one of those ones that looked kind of greeny. Yeah, it had like kind of like this weird tone to me just looking at it on my like phone and computer. I feel like the tone's really nice. I feel like it applies a really nice amount of product. Like I don't find that it like really over applies, because some brow products, just like when you go through with a brow gel, like it applies such a heavy deposit that your brows are like soaked in product or not enough kind of thing. And I feel like this is like a really good in between. So I'm actually liking the brow gel, and I'm pretty happy about that because I am out of the brow gel that I normally use. I'm gonna leave my brows like this for now, but also just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna leave it like that for the rest of the day. And then I'm gonna go in and do my mascara with their spiky looking mascara. Here's what they say. about their mascara. Oh, look at this nice dollop they have. This is some nice product photography. Look at the nice little Cool Whip they have on top of that. No, it's nice. Okay, so this says the perfect pick-me-up for long lifted lashes. This thick, buildable formula multitasks and outlasts from root to tip. Formulated to strengthen and condition with rich ingredients, 100% natural or naturally derived ingredients. They also look like they won some fun awards for this. This is crazy. Oh. The top review says, it smells so good and my lashes feel hydrated. Like, I'm not trying to front here. I do smell all my products, but it's interesting that they felt it necessary to include that in a review of a mascara. Anyways, okay, they said, say yes to full feathery lashes that won't feel coated or heavy. Our Hydra Mineral Complex strengthens lashes with its mineral richness and high potassium levels. Lashes feel flexible and won't turn crispy or flaky. High potassium, it's like a banana for your eye is what I'm understanding. I'm gonna curl my little lashes. Wow, I feel like putting that shit underneath my skin made my skin look way more dry than normal, which is very upsetting. I didn't think that was possible. Okay. It does smell kind of good. It smells also like pansies a little bit. Oh, I hate this brush so much. I hate it so much. Dang, that mascara is kind of fucking nice though. Let me zoom your ass in. Oh, fuck me. I always do that with this lens. I'll just zoom myself in. This is how it looks. Am I looking the correct direction? I can't tell. I feel like that actually looks pretty nice. Like it didn't apply. Here's why I don't like this type of brush. First of all, feels hazardous to my eyes. I feel like it's gonna poke my eyeball out. But moreover, I feel like that type of bristle tends to just kind of make product really, really clumpy. And it, for some reason, is usually coupled with formulas that are like a lot more wet as well. And so I find that it just like applies this really like thick coat of wetness and it's just very unpleasant. But I feel like that actually separated my lashes quite nicely and it applied in a pretty like nice, like thin, even layer. It reminds me a lot of the Glossier Lash Slick, which does have like a pokier brush too. But this is a formula that I like, especially on my bottom lashes, because it's like the thinnest layer of mascara ever. It's kind of like incredible actually. But I feel like I'm getting like a similar kind of vibe with this mascara. I'm gonna see how this layers, which like I don't normally layer my mascara, but just out of curiosity. This isn't necessarily the look that like I typically go for with mascaras. Like I feel like this is a nice mascara just based off like the first appearance, not necessarily wear time or anything. I don't know that yet. Like Bite Upswing mascara, for instance. That's one of my favorite mascaras because it just makes my lashes look really nice and like thick. Whereas I feel like this one is better for like separation and lengthening. So those aren't the things I care about quite as much. It did separate them quite nicely. All right, I'm okay with that. This lip balm, it's just so odd. It's almost like, it reminds me of like formulas that are like cream to powder kind of thing. That's kind of how it feels in a way. Like I feel like it's not, I don't know. It's so odd. I'm gonna apply a little bit more. I realize I have the gloss coming up really soon here, but it's more of like a confusion thing than anything. Wow, my skin looks so dry. Okay. Yeah, I just find that gloss, that lip balm like just visually confusing. Oh God, I just don't even know how to describe how bizarre it is. It's like, it feels nice and like buttery, but it's so stiff coming out of there. And then it looks like not like very like balmy or glossy on your lips. And it's almost like it gets like powdery over time. I just don't know how to feel right now. I'm just gonna keep reapplying this brow gel. I feel like that brow gel, I just wanna say that too. I feel like that brow gel layers really well as well. Cause some brow gels, it's kind of like, if you try to apply more over top of the coat that you already applied, it just sort of like almost takes off the coat underneath. But I feel like that one does like apply well and kind of builds up color and fluffiness nicely. Okay, I wonder how dewy this dewy blush is. Ooh, this looks like it's gonna be pretty. I think I'm going to put this onto the back of my hand first. And then I'm going to stipple my brush into it and just kind of work that into my brush. Oh, damn, this looks like it's gonna be really nice. Okay. I quite like that formula. That looks very nice for me. It's so interesting. Oh, I didn't read the synopsis. Oh my God. Cheek Duo. Oh, Cheek Duo. Yeah, I got it. Okay. It's spelled Cheek Duo, but D-E-W-O. And I was like, is that a typo? And then, no, it's not. It's just like they're being cute. Okay. Blush but better. Dew Blush is a cream water-based gel that gives a natural flush of easy, just pinched color. Our soft doe foot applicator and lightweight formula lets you create a barely there tint, or it can be built up for a deeper wash of color, never streaky or patchy. It melts right into the skin for a seamless lit from within flush. Formulated with mulberry extract to brighten and refine, while elderberry and evening primrose extracts and evening primrose extracts nourish. English is the worst language on the planet. Nourish, soothe, and help create a radiant, dewy sheen of color that blends right into skin and creates a natural, no makeup look. I feel like just based off like first application, this has like such a nice finish to it. Like it looks so nice and like dewy, but not glossy. Like this to me looks more like, I just went for like a cute little run. And I'm a little bit like flush, like a little bit like wet to the touch, but not like sticky glossy. It's really, really pretty. It looks really nice on and like thin on the skin. I feel like it blended out really well. It didn't like over apply. The only thing I will say, doe foots are becoming like the bane of my existence. I just feel like it's so rare that it works with a product. Here's the thing. This formula is like very, very, very watery. So I'm just assuming, yeah, like that this can pour out of the package like that. And so having this doe foot in there, it's so big that when you go to like take it out, it kind of like splashes some product out because the product is so watery, and it's not on like a super tiny applicator with a super small like wiper system inside kind of thing. I just don't feel like that's the most functional packaging they could have gone with. I almost would prefer to see a blush like that either in maybe like a dropper or like a but would it be too watery for a squeeze tube as well? That's a tricky one. What would I do? Probably give up and formulate something else. I don't know. I don't love that doe foot applicator because I do feel like that's going to continually be something that I'm going to be pulling out a bunch of like liquidy blush. It's going to get all over my sweater. Alyssa's going to have to try and remove the stain. It's just a big nightmare, okay? Formula wise, I really like it. I'm hoping that like wears really well. Let's try this fucking thing. So this is the Dew Bomb in rosy gold. This reminds me of Easter for some reason, their packaging. Oh wow, that does feel fucking stiff as shit. That was what Hannah said in her video. She was like, it's fucking stiff. Okay, Game Changer. Just fucking bold words to start with. Game Changer. This highlighter is more dew than strobe, giving cheeks and glow zones the most gorgeous wet sheen. You can feel the plumping moisture. It feels so amazing. And you'll love the long-lasting glossy finish. In Hannah's video, she was like, they said it feels so amazing. It doesn't feel amazing. You've never experienced dew like this. Again, a fucking bold claim. I don't know. Glow Lost is pretty fucking dewy. You've never experienced dew like this. Bouncy, cushiony Dew Bomb plumps and softens skin with feel-good moisturizers and dewy illuminators. Love you, hyaluronic acid and marshmallow root. Okay, I need to squeeze this on camera. That is... Look at the way that came out. It's like a little alien antenna. Oh, no. Oh, God. Okay, texturally right now, again, it's so confusing. This is really reminiscent to me of like Benefit Porefessional. Like, you know how you like squeeze it out and then it stays in that shape on your hand? That's what's going on. Okay. Oh yeah, does it say how to apply? Because I want to know if they like think it's like a good one with like fingies or what. How to use: warm a little dab between your fingertips or on the back of your hand, then just tap onto skin. Cheekbones are the sweet spot here, as well as the cupid's bow, brow bone, and lids. Works great on bare skin or over dewy or natural finish foundation, but not matte finish versions. Fuck a matte finish, they said. Okay, great. Okay. Everything's fine. That was very unpleasant to touch at first. It smells like nothing. Okay. When you first touch that, it's horrifying to my sensibilities. It's so like thick and intense, but I feel like once you start blending it out, it actually does feel fairly nice. It's a little bit kind of like tacky when you're tapping it on. I'm so curious why they said not to put it over a matte foundation specifically. Like, I wonder what happens if you do put over a matte foundation. Anyways, it feels a little bit tacky when you're tapping it on, but I actually feel fine about that. I think I like it. I don't like it upon squeezing it out of the tube onto my hand. That was horrific. And I feel like almost because it's so stiff in the tube, I wonder if I would end up feeling like I usually waste product because there's like so much product on my hand still. I could do like 12 more faces with this. And so I wonder if that's something where I'm gonna end up feeling like I waste product every time I use it because like you can't squeeze out like a good amount. But I guess what I could do is just like squeeze it a little bit and then just like take it off the top kind of thing rather than squeezing it onto the back of my hand. The one thing I will say is that, yeah, I don't feel like it gives a lot of like a reflect kind of thing, like a, well, it looks like it in the monitor more so than it does in real life. I feel like in the monitor it looks more reflective than it does in person, like more kind of like an actual highlight. Whereas in person it's a lot more of that just kind of like dew texture than anything. I feel like this color is a really nice color actually. It is like a more kind of like rosy gold tone, but it's not really, really pink and it's not really, really gold either. Like it blends out to be quite nice and like neutral looking, but still definitely warm. Like it doesn't look like silvery or ashy on my skin at all, which is nice. So I am actually quite liking the look of that. I would be so curious to try it over top of matte foundation because it's quite like unusual for a brand to explicitly tell you not to do something or that it won't work with specific things, which I don't actually mind that. I was thinking about this last night because I was looking at like skincare on Sephora. Every single product basically that you look at, it says recommended for normal, dry, oily, like combo, like which, and sensitive, like which, how could that possibly be? Like not every skincare product is gonna work on every single type of skin. So I don't actually mind the idea that like, they're just like straight up, like it's not gonna fucking work. But I'd be interested to know why. Like why doesn't it work? I would try it over a matte foundation. Do I have a matte foundation? Absolutely the fuck not. Of course I don't. Don't be fucking ridiculous. Oh fuck. I forgot I was gonna try and put the fucking shit on the other side. God damn it. This is pretty dewy already. Like I don't know if I can fucking justify that. That's such an interesting product. I feel like there's a lot of products that you come to expect certain things, you know what I mean? Like there's certain products that it's like I would look at it and be like, okay, yeah, I just visually looking at that in the pan, I'm kind of anticipating how that's gonna feel upon application, how it's gonna blend out, stuff like that. And then there's some products that it's just like such a fucking curveball. Like comes to mind, Ritual Defee, basically all their poured creams remind me of that because like they look like a normal cream in the pan, but then when you touch them, it's like so much product just immediately melts onto your finger kind of thing. But then it applies quite sheerly and nicely and normally with a brush. It's just so bizarre. And like this is kind of like confusing in that way for me. Like when I first even feel it in the tube, I'm like, damn, that's fucking rigid. And then when I squeeze it out, it's like somehow worse. But then it does really like blend out to be super emollient and creamy. It's just so confusing. I'm so confused. I'm gonna wipe off this lip balm to put on that gloss. Because I don't want like the texture of this to like play into that gloss at all. Let my lips dry a little. Get nice and dry. And I'll read in the meantime. Well, I'm actually kind of like pleasantly surprised that I'm not minding most of these products so far. This thing is useless. I'll talk about that at the end. What am I trying? Oh yeah, they're really great gloss. Yeah, I don't know that I would ever feel confident enough to call something that. They call this actually a hydrating treatment gloss. Next level lip gloss. Our cushy oil-infused base hugs lips with just right shine and a hint of color. It plumps and hydrates, feels ridiculously comfy, never sticky, really good for you, really easy to love, really great gloss. Want the whole set? Check out the Fab 5. Well, I don't know if I want the whole set yet. Our apple-based exfoliator sloughs away dead skin. Slough is like a bad, unpleasant word. Sloughs away dead skin, clearing the way for lip-loving ingredients like hyaluronic acid, coconut milk, and sunflower butter to do their plumping, hydrating thing. Totally addictive brown sugar flavor. Again, on their website especially, all of their reviews are like 5-star reviews. My lips are nice and dry. Ready to be sloughed. It's in the shade Chill that I got. I have to like sit with this for a second here. I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna do my brows. I'm probably gonna put on a little beauty mark. And I'm gonna like see how this gloss just like sits for a couple minutes. And I'm gonna jump back on and tell you like kind of what I'm thinking. So BRB. Okay. Let me give you my overall thoughts on everything I tried here. So the first thing we tried was this here, Glowy Super Gel. Oof. This product to me is, how you say, useless. It's so odd. Like, it's so here's the thing. When I applied it in like a thin layer, like I said, like when you're applying it, it feels really nice and like serum-y and stuff like that. But when I applied it in a thin layer, I didn't feel like I got any kind of like textural payoff from it. Obviously, this isn't meant to be a product where you're getting like a ton of color payoff. So they talk predominantly about like the texture and it being super glowy and dewy and stuff like that. And I didn't feel like that when I applied it. I mean, fucking all over my face. You know what I mean? It didn't feel super glowy and dewy. When I applied more of it, like that second layer, I got a little bit more of that kind of like pearl coming through, but it still didn't really feel like texturally like it was really like shiny and glowy. Okay, so this is what I was kind of curious about. Mica is pretty high up on their ingredient list. So, okay, let me explain this to the best of my abilities here. I was wondering if like the kind of like color additives that they had in there to like make that actually, because you know like a lot of things will be kind of like clear or whatever, like I was wondering if the color additive, which they added mica for that, was going to be pretty high up on the ingredient list, which can sometimes result, in my opinion, in like the formula feeling a little bit drier, because the way they talk about this product is that it's like super glowy and super dewy and stuff like that. And putting it underneath my foundation, I actually feel like my foundation looks drier than normal. Like I just do have dry skin, we know that. I use this like mix of foundations every day. And I had like the same like normal skincare underneath that I normally put on. But I felt like somehow like my base ended up looking a lot drier, even having layered this twice. And so I'm curious if it's because that mica concentration is a little bit higher. So then that kind of makes the formula drier than you would think it would be, just based on like the ingredients they talk about and the finish that they talk about and stuff like that. The word that wants to come out of my mouth is a non-product because it's like a product that you put on and you're like, what was the point of that? What did this achieve for any of us? I don't know. Like, I don't feel like it gave me this really nice, like super glowy, like, you know, kind of skincare, like just freshly applied skincare, like texture, like, you know, the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Serum Crystal thing. I didn't feel like it gave me like a really highlighted appearance, like, you know, like Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter or Glow Lust. It just kind of was like, do you want like a little bit of like pearl on your face? Do you want like a little bit of mica in there just for kicks? That's what it felt like to me. And it's confusing, and I wish I didn't have such a gigantic bottle of this. They did have a sample size on the, whatchamacallit, Sephora website, but they were sold out. Fuck me. It's just odd. I'm interested to see how this works mixed in with my foundation. I wonder if I might like that more, especially if I mix it with like a dewier foundation, because then even if and this could be in my head, but the thing with the mica being so high on the ingredient list, and I do feel like my skin looks so much drier, which like, it just feels like if I layered it twice that it should be even more hydrated based on their whole hydrating ingredient story, but no. So I wonder if I mix it with a really dewy foundation, but still, it didn't give me any kind of like texture that I was expecting. It's just a fucking weird product. I need to read the reviews about this for a second and just see like what the situation is here. It's 330 reviews, and it's like almost completely 5 stars. Like it's 4.7 stars. See, even that's fucking confusing to me. This person said it's beautiful for mature skin, which I just wouldn't assume because it doesn't actually look that hydrating, and it just looks mostly like I can see that pearl coming through. Okay, she said it tends to peel and cake when set with powder. It works best when just left alone on the skin. But this is the thing. I don't feel like it looks that nice on bare skin. Maybe I would feel differently if I got like the color that's brighter. But again, texturally, God, I keep like trying to like reel myself back in and then no. Okay, this is a poor review. Someone said I received this as a sample to try out and definitely agree this will not work as a highlighter on its own. It looks as though I put zero product on when I swatch it. Definitely shouldn't waste your money. Like some people are saying that they like it as a primer, but I don't. Yeah, it's crazy. It just gets like phenomenal reviews. Okay, so anyways, that product I would not recommend just based off like my first go of it because it's just so not anything at all that it's confusing to me. Oh yeah, I tried the lip balm. I'm so confused. The lip balm is odd. That image will never leave my mind. Their product photography image on their website, I will never ever move past. It feels nice. You know what actually it reminds me of? I'm not sure how many of you would have tried this because I don't know that it became like super popular, but Lululemon released like self-care line, and they released a lip balm within that. If I recall correctly, the whole like marketing thing behind that lip balm is that it's like unisex. I would argue all lip balms are, but anyways, whatever. But that it's unisex because like it's not super glossy, like it's a little bit more kind of like satin or like matte finish. And that's the feel of this for me. So it feels really nice on my lips, but like I feel like it's not actually really hydrating at all. So I'm curious to keep using that and see how that goes. I think just like in terms of my preferences with lip balms, I like to put something on where I'm like, oh, yeah, that feels fucking moist. Like that feels like this is doing some shit on my lips. Like, and I definitely don't get that feel from that. It feels really nice and buttery, but like it feels like I can already anticipate that it's going to be dry in a very short amount of time. So anyways, that's a weird one. If you want me to do like a follow-up review on any of these products, you just let me know. The brow butter, hate the name, really like the product so far. I feel like I'm super happy with it. That was a nice surprise. The mascara isn't a mascara I would repurchase just based on like my preferences around how I like my mascara to look. And I'll have to like obviously update you guys in terms of like wear time and flakiness and all that kind of shit and if it transfers and everything. But I did feel like it separated really nicely on my lashes. I don't feel like it over applied a ton of product, and it is like a fresh mascara as well. So as it dries out, it typically with most mascaras, it will be even better in terms of like separation and stuff like that, and not over applying like a ton of product. Like sometimes when you get them and they're fresh, they're like so wet that it just like applies so much. Then we tried the blush. I really, really like this blush at first glance. I'm super happy with it, and it's very, very glowy. If you're oily, you will just hate this so much. But if you're dry or normal, or you are oily and you just really like to go for the glow, which I respect, then maybe you would like it. But it is very like wet on the skin, and like she stays wet. It stays very like wet, which I actually prefer. I like that, but I know a lot of people are particular about not having products that like transfer at all or that like pick back up at all kind of thing. It is not like the most convenient when you're wearing like a mask and stuff like that. For me, it doesn't bother me as long as when I touch it, it doesn't leave like a fingerprint, which I just touched it and then I glanced to see if it left a fingerprint. It doesn't look like it. So I feel fine about that. I really like that blush a lot. I'm pretty happy about it. Might actually pick up more colors. I don't know. We'll see. Then I tried this Bizarro Confusion. Their Dew Bomb. It's kind of like, you know how when you get into a relationship and it's like they're putting their best foot forward and it's kind of like you get trapped because you're continuing the relationship based off how they behaved in the beginning, and then it just slowly gets worse from there. This is somehow the opposite. The first experience of it is like so bewildering, and it's so stiff, and it feels just absolutely horrible when you're like first squishing it down, trying to get it to be creamy on the back of your hand. But then I feel like once you do start warming up the product, it applies nicely and it doesn't make my skin look super textured. And I actually quite enjoy it a lot. I'm interested to see how these wear because I'm like wary now in a way where I'm like, am I gonna be hurt down the road? Like, is this gonna like cause some incredible like breakout or some like horrific like breaking up or I don't know, but it's just such an odd formula that's so different from anything I've ever tried that I just don't know what to expect. I feel like I'm really going in blind. Anyway, so I quite like that. And then the Really Great Gloss. Again, it has kind of like similar confusing properties to the Balm for me, where it doesn't feel like a gloss at all. It feels more like a liquefied lipstick. So I'm not talking about like a liquid lipstick with like a high alcohol content that like dries down matte and like thin on the skin kind of thing. I'm talking about like a lip, what's a formula that's similar? NYX Matte Lip Cream? That's what it feels like. It's like thick and odd. It's not super glossy, which I don't mind the finish of it. I don't feel like it looks like shitty on my lips at all. I just don't know that I would have marketed it as a gloss, and especially not a really great gloss, because it doesn't have like the same properties of like what I would normally come to expect from a gloss again. It's just so weird. It's kind of like a hybrid between like a lipstick and a lip gloss for me. I don't dislike it. That's gonna be one that I have to like see how it wears and stuff like that. I like the color, so that's good. Overall, I'm just cautious of this brand. It's so weird. Really like the brow gel, really like the blush. Confused but happy about the Dew Bomb thing. Everything else is very up in the air for me currently. But anyways, that's my thoughts on this brand. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching. Let me know if you guys have picked up anything, if you really love it, and how it's working out for you. If you were equally confused or if you were not as confused as I. It's just some different product, you know? It's just some different textures. I think that's the thing is like, I've tried quite a bit of makeup in my day. I've tried quite a bit of makeup, so it's rare that like I'll come in contact with a formula that I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like it's rare to be like caught off guard by something because I usually do know what to expect, like I was saying a million times over, because I'm just the most repetitive person on the planet. So it's kind of an interesting brand in that respect because I just am left so confused. So, you know, variety's the spice of life, I guess. That's it. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.